Husband passed away, and his family showed up demanding I give them our house for my Sills kids and move into her small apartment while paying her rent. But when we met with the lawyer, he revealed something that left them speechless. I, 34F, recently lost my husband, 36 millions, to a sudden cardiac arrest, and it's been a really tough time for me. We were married for 12 years, and even though it's been 3 months since he passed, the pain still feels so fresh. We had a home together, a beautiful 4-bedroom house in a lovely neighborhood that we worked so hard to buy about 6 years ago. My husband was always super organized, especially when it came to finances. He made sure everything was legally sorted and documented, and I never really gave it much thought back then, but now, looking back, I'm incredibly thankful for how he took care of all that. I know this might seem a little out of context, but believe me, it will come around. My in-laws and I have never been close. They've always been very traditional and, to be honest, never fully accepted me. First chose to focus on my career. I'm a software engineer, which they didn't understand because they expected me to stay at home and have kids. They were polite enough, but there was always this subtle tension between us. My sister-in-law, 38F, was their favorite. She's married with 3 kids, stays at home, and basically fits the mold of what they consider the perfect daughter. Things began to take a strange and unsettling turn not long after my husband's funeral. At first, my in-laws seemed genuinely supportive. They brought food, helped with arrangements, and even offered kind words. For a brief moment, I thought that maybe this was the beginning of a better relationship with them, that maybe in the face of such a profound loss we could find some common ground. But that hope didn't last long. Just a week after we laid my husband to rest, they showed up at my door unannounced, and the tone of their visit was nothing like I'd expected. My father-in-law, 65 millions, started off with a speech about how family needs to stick together in times like these and how they had been thinking about what was best for everyone. At first I thought maybe they were offering some sort of olive branch or trying to console me in a way that felt genuine. For a brief moment, I even allowed myself to believe they were finally showing a bit of understanding and compassion after all these years of tension. But then, the conversation took a turn that I could never have anticipated. Out of nowhere, they dropped a bombshell. My in-laws told me that I should do the right thing and give up the house to my sister-in-law and her family. They reasoned that since she has 3 young kids, ages 8, 6, and 4, they needed the space far more than I did. They pointed out that I was just one person living in a big house and suggested that I move into my sister-in-law's 2-bedroom apartment instead. To top it off, they even had the nerve to suggest that I pay her rent as part of this arrangement. According to them, this was what my husband would have wanted. I was stunned. Their words felt like a slap in the face. How could they be so cold and insensitive? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I felt completely blindsided and deeply hurt. It had only been days since I lost my husband, the person I had built a life with for 12 years, and already his family was trying to take away the home we had created together. It was as if my grief didn't matter to them at all. When I refused to entertain the idea, things escalated quickly. They began making outrageous claims, saying that because my husband was their son, they had the right to decide what happened to his property. They accused me of being selfish and disrespecting his memory by not helping. My sister-in-law, my mother-in-law even, started crying, saying I was tearing the family apart and dishonoring my husband's wishes. I couldn't wrap my head around how they could behave like this. It felt like they didn't care about my grief or the pain I was going through. All that seemed to matter to them was what they could take from me, as if my feelings didn't count. Losing my husband was already the hardest thing I'd ever faced, and now his family was adding to the pain by treating me like an obstacle to their plans. I was devastated, furious, and completely overwhelmed. The way they were acting made it clear that fairness or decency didn't matter to them. They were determined to get what they wanted, no matter how much it hurt me. But it didn't end there. The harassment only got worse. For days they kept showing up at my house without warning, ringing the doorbell and knocking like they had every right to be there. If I didn't answer, they'd call me repeatedly, sometimes back to back, until I felt like I couldn't escape them. On top of that, they started dragging other family members into it. People I hadn't heard from in years suddenly began reaching out, telling me I needed to think of the children and do the right thing by giving up the house. It felt like they were trying to wear me down from every angle, using guilt and pressure to get their way. The worst part was my sister-in-law's behavior. She started posting these passive-aggressive messages on social media, clearly aimed at me. Things like, "Some people are heartless and family should take care of family." It was such a blatant attempt to paint me as the villain, and it hurt deeply, not just because it was unfair, but because I was already struggling to keep myself together after losing my husband. Instead of supporting me, they were trying to tear me down. Every knock at the door, every call, every message chipped away at what little piece I had left. I felt like I was constantly on edge, waiting for the next attack. It was exhausting and emotionally draining. Eventually, I realized I couldn't keep living like that. I was already dealing with unimaginable grief, and their behavior was pushing me to my breaking point. That's when I knew I had to take action. I needed to protect myself, not just from their claims on the house, but from the relentless stress and manipulation they were putting me through. I decided it was time to get some professional advice. So I reached out to my husband's lawyer. As soon as I explained the situation, he wasted no time setting up a meeting with my in-laws. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I hoped it might finally put an end to their behavior. What I didn't realize was just how prepared my husband had been for something like this. When my in-laws showed up for the meeting, the lawyer didn't hold back. He started by explaining the legal facts about the house. He told them that the house was fully paid off and was jointly owned by my husband and me, with something called the right of survivorship. That meant that when my husband passed away, ownership of the house automatically transferred to me. There was no loophole, no gray area. It was mine, fair and square. Then he went a step further and brought up my husband's will. Apparently, my husband had updated it just a year before, making it crystal clear that everything was to go to me and that his family was not to contest it. Hearing this left my in-laws visibly stunned, but that wasn't even the end of it. The lawyer then pulled out detailed records my husband had kept over the years. He had documented every time his parents tried to interfere in our financial decisions. There were notes about the times they pressured him to make big purchases, like buying them a vacation home, and even instances where they had tried to meddle in our plans for the future. My husband had been more aware of their behavior than I'd realized, and he had quietly taken steps to protect me from it. The biggest shock came when the lawyer handed them a letter, one my husband had written, and specifically asked to be shared only if his family ever tried to contest the will or harass me after his death. In the letter, my husband poured his heart out. He wrote about how deeply disappointed he would be if his parents ever acted this way toward me. He reminded them of how much he loved me and how important it was to him that I was treated with respect and kindness, especially in his absence. It was as if he had anticipated exactly what they might try to do, and he had made sure they couldn't twist the situation in their favor. The room was silent after the lawyer finished. My in-laws looked completely taken aback, and for the first time they didn't seem to have anything to say. It was clear that my husband's words had struck a nerve, and I could only hope they'd finally understand how wrong their behavior had been. For me, hearing how much thought my husband had put into protecting me brought a mix of emotions: grief, love, and an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Even in his absence, he was standing up for me, and that gave me the strength to keep moving forward. What shocked them the most was when the lawyer revealed that my husband had set up a trust for my sister-in-law's kids' education. But here's the catch: the trust would be void if his family ever tried to pressure me about any of his assets after his death. The lawyer made it clear that their behavior was considered harassment, and if they didn't stop, they would risk losing the trust for their grandchildren and could even face legal consequences. That seemed to shut them up for a while, but it was a tough reminder of just how far they were willing to go to try and control everything, even after my husband was gone. Since the meeting with the lawyer, I haven't heard a word from my in-laws. My sister-in-law deleted her social media posts, and now they've all blocked me on every platform. A few extended family members have reached out to apologize, saying they had no idea about the full situation and didn't realize how far their behavior had gone. It's strange to hear that from them, but at least some of them seem to be acknowledging what's really been happening. Right now, I'm feeling so conflicted. On one hand, I'm relieved that my husband took steps to protect me even after his death. I'm grateful that he made sure I wouldn't be pushed around by his family, but at the same time, it breaks my heart that his family turned on me so quickly. It feels like they didn't care about me at all and just saw me as someone to manipulate for their own benefit. I thought they would be more supportive, especially after everything I've been through, but instead they made this difficult time even harder. I can't help but wonder if I could have handled it differently. Maybe I could have tried to talk things out with them before going to the lawyer. But honestly, the pressure and the guilt tripping felt overwhelming, and I don't know if I could have done much more without completely breaking down. Was it too harsh to involve the lawyer? It feels like the right decision now, but it also makes me feel like I've lost even more than just my husband. This whole situation has made the grief even harder to bear. I miss him so much, and dealing with his family's behavior just adds another layer of pain that I wasn't prepared for. Update 1. Hi, everybody. It's been a few days since I shared what happened, and I've been Honestly overwhelmed by all the support and kindness from so many of you. First off, I just want to say thank you to everyone who took the time to comment and reach out. Your thoughtful words and advice have really helped me feel less alone during such a tough time. I'm really glad I listened to some of you who suggested taking extra precautions for my safety. It wasn't something I initially thought much about, but now that I've done it, I feel so much better. The first thing I did was change all the locks on the house. It's one of those things that seem small, but it gave me a sense of control, security that I desperately needed. I also installed a doorbell camera, and honestly, I wish I'd done that sooner. It's such a relief being able to see who's at the door without having to open it, and it's especially useful now when I'm feeling a bit on edge. Thankfully, my in-laws haven't shown up again, but just knowing I have these measures in place gives me some peace of mind. It's one less thing to worry about in the middle of all this chaos. Of course, just as I was starting to feel a little more settled, I got a letter from my in-laws' lawyer. I knew it was coming at some point. They're nothing if not persistent, but it still managed to throw me off. In the letter, they claimed they were entitled to the house because according to them, it was a family purchase. Reading that made my blood boil. It's such a blatant lie. My husband and I worked hard to buy this house together. We saved up for years and made it happen with our own money. There was no family involvement, financial or otherwise. The house was our dream, something we built together. And for them to try and rewrite history like that was infuriating. I forwarded the letter to my lawyer right away, and thankfully he was quick to reassure me. He said their claims were completely unfounded and had no legal basis whatsoever. He told me not to worry about it and to let him handle everything, which was a huge relief. Still, it's hard not to get upset when they keep coming at me like this. It feels like they're trying to grind me down, hoping I'll eventually give up and give in to their demands. But I've made up my mind. I'm not going to let them win. This is my home, and I'm not going to let them bully me into giving it up. On another note, some of you had asked about the trust my husband set up for his nieces and nephews, and after seeing your comments, I decided to dig into it a bit more with my lawyer. What I found out honestly brought tears to my eyes. My husband had set aside $100,000 for each of the kids to use for their education. That's such a huge, thoughtful thing to do, and it really shows how much he cared about his family. Even with all the drama and tension with his parents, he wanted to make sure his nieces and nephews would have the chance to build a better future for themselves. It's just one more reminder of the kind of person he was: generous, forward-thinking, and deeply loving. What's hard to wrap my head around is how his parents could be willing to risk all of that. By trying to take the house from me, they could have jeopardized the entire trust. It's beyond selfish. It's downright reckless. It's hard to believe they'd put their own greed above something as important as their grandchildren's education. It's heartbreaking and infuriating all at once. My husband wanted so much for his family, and it's painful to see how little they value his wishes. But no matter what they do, I'm determined to honor him and protect what he worked so hard to create, both for me and for those kids. I recently found out something else that just added to the frustration. My husband's best friend told me that my in-laws have been spreading rumors about me, saying I blindsided them with legal action. According to them, they were just trying to help, and I completely overreacted. It's honestly so upsetting because that's not even close to the truth. They're trying to paint themselves as victims when all I've done is stand up for myself against their ridiculous demands. It feels so unfair. But at this point, I guess I shouldn't be surprised by anything they do. The silver lining in all of this is my husband's best friend. He's been such an amazing support. Not only has he been there for me emotionally, but he's also been calling them out on their lies. He's even shown people screenshots of my sister-in-law's old deleted social media posts, the ones where she was throwing shade at me and trying to guilt trip me. Thanks to him, people are seeing through their fake narrative. I can't even put into words how much I appreciate him for standing up for me. It's comforting to know that not everyone is buying into their story and that I have people in my corner. Emotionally, though, this whole situation has been draining everywhere. I look in the house, I see memories of my husband and the life we built together. We poured so much love and effort into this place, like the time we spent weekends doing little renovations, or how we'd carefully choose furniture and decorations that felt like us. This house was our safe space, our sanctuary. Now those beautiful memories are clouded by everything his family has done, and it's such a hard mix of emotions to process. I want to focus on the love and happiness we shared, but the anger and hurt from their betrayal keep creeping in. Despite all of that, I'm doing my best to move forward. I've decided that I'm not going to let them ruin this house for me. This is my home, and I'm reclaiming it piece by piece. I've started reorganizing some rooms and making little changes here and there to help it feel like my own space again. I bought some fresh flowers for the living room, which has actually brightened the space more than I expected. I also put up new curtains in the kitchen, and they've completely changed the vibe of the room. It's a small thing, but it feels like progress. Each little step feels like a win, no matter how small. It's bittersweet on one hand. It's hard to make changes to a place that holds so many memories of my husband, but on the other hand, it's helping me find a bit of normally and control in the middle of all this chaos. It's like taking my life back one piece at a time. It's not easy, and I still have hard days, but I'm determined not to let his family's actions overshadow the life we built together. I owe it to myself and to him to keep going, even if it's just one small step at a time. Update 2. Things have taken a completely unexpected turn, and honestly, I'm still trying to make sense of it all. A few days ago, my sister-in-law's husband reached out to me privately to say I was caught off guard would be putting it mildly. He apologized over and over for everything that's happened. He admitted he had no idea what his wife and my in-laws were planning until after they ambushed me. He seemed genuinely horrified by the whole situation. Apparently they kept him completely in the dark. When he finally found out, he was furious. He said there was a massive argument between him and my sister-in-law over the entire ordeal. He told me he's really worried about how all this might impact their kids, especially the educational trust my husband set up for them. He asked if there was any way to fix things and repair the damage. But I told him I needed some time to think about it. I mean, how do you even start to untangle something this messy? It's not just about forgiveness. It's about protecting myself and honoring what my husband would have wanted. I can't make a rushed decision here, not with so much at stake. At the same time, I've started hearing how all this drama is affecting my husband's extended family. Word has spread, and it's not going well for his parents. 3 of his cousins have actually cut ties with him after finding out how they treated me. I was shocked when I heard that. The cousins reached out to let me know they were appalled by the in-laws' actions and couldn't support what they described as outright greed and cruelty. They also said they're disgusted that my in-laws are risking the kids' trust fund just to try and take the house from me. Of course, not everyone is taking sides. Some relatives are trying to stay neutral, which I guess I can understand, and they probably don't want to get caught in the middle. But a few still believe my in-laws' twisted version of the story. It's frustrating, but I can't control what people choose to believe. All I can do is stick to the truth and let the facts speak for themselves. I never wanted any of this to cause a rift in the family. I've already lost so much, and now it feels like the fallout from this situation is just rippling through everyone. But at the same time, it's hard not to feel like my in-laws brought this on themselves. They made their choices repeatedly, and now they're dealing with the consequences. It's sad to watch things unravel like this, especially knowing how much my husband cared about family. But at the end of the day, their actions were selfish, and this is the fallout of their own making. Right now, I'm just trying to take it all one step at a time. I don't want to rush into any decisions or do anything that I might regret later. It's complicated, and I need to protect myself while also figuring out what's best for the future. One thing is for sure, though, this whole mess has shown me who I can count on and who truly has my back, and for that, I'm grateful. In the meantime, my lawyer sent a strong response to my in-laws' claims, making it clear that their arguments were completely baseless and warning them that any further harassment would result in legal action. Since that letter was sent, I haven't heard a word from them, and while the silence is a relief, it also serves as a reminder of just how toxic everything has become. I'm hopeful that they've finally gotten the message, but I'm still staying cautious. The locks have been changed and the doorbell camera gives me some added reassurance. For the first time in weeks, I'm able to breathe a little easier, and it feels like a small victory. I've also started seeing a therapist, and honestly, it's been one of the best decisions I've made. During all of this, talking to someone neutral has really helped me process everything that's happened. My therapist reminded me that it's okay to grieve, not just for my husband, but also for the relationship I thought I had with his family. It's hard to admit, but in a way, it feels like I've lost them too, especially with my sister-in-law, who I had a good bond with, even though they've shown they were never really on my side. That loss hurts, but accepting it has been an important part of my healing process. Even so, I can't shake the weight of everything that's happened. My sister-in-law's husband's apology has left me feeling conflicted. On one hand, I appreciate his honesty, and that he's willing to confront the situation. It's clear that he's trying to do what's best for his kids, and I can't fault him for that. But on the other hand, it's hard to separate him from the mess his wife and in-laws have caused. Should I consider some kind of compromise for the sake of the children, or would that just open the door to more problems down the road? I don't want to punish the kids for what their parents have done, but at the same time I need to protect myself and my peace of mind. It's a difficult balance to figure out, and I'm not sure what the right choice is. As for the family rift, I'm torn. Part of me feels guilty that my actions, even though they were justified, have played a role in the growing divide within the family. But another part of me knows that my in-laws are responsible for their own actions. They made the choice to prioritize greed over decency, and now they're facing the consequences. I'm trying my best to focus on the support I've received from the people who truly care about me, my husband's best friend, his supportive cousins, and even strangers who have reached out online have all reminded me that I'm not alone in this. It's comforting to know that there are people who see the situation for what it is and are here for me. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to take things one step at a time. This journey has been overwhelming, and there are still so many unanswered questions. But right now I'm focusing on finding strength in the small victories, and I'm holding on to the hope that brighter days are ahead. I know it's going to take time to heal and figure everything out, but I'm doing my best to move forward, no matter how slow or difficult it might feel. Update 3. Hi guys. After a lot of reflection, I finally made a decision about how I want to move forward, and it feels right for me. With the help of you guys and the few people in my life that I trust, I've taken a big step toward healing, but I'm doing it on my own terms. I sent an email to my in-laws and sister-in-law, clearly laying out my boundaries. I told them that I'm willing to maintain a relationship with the kids through their father, and that the educational trust my husband set up for them will remain intact as long as they respect my boundaries and stop trying to claim my home or other assets. My sister-in-law's husband responded positively, which was a relief. He thanked me for my willingness to keep the kids' trust in place and assured me that he would make sure the boundaries were respected. However, my in-laws' response was much colder. They sent back a brief email saying they need time to process everything. Honestly, that's fine by me. I've come to realize that I don't need to rush any decisions or try to force relationships that aren't healthy. My counselor has helped me understand that setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's actually necessary for my well-being. My husband's best friend and his wife have been an amazing source of support throughout all of this. They come over for dinner once a week, and it's so comforting to be able to share stories and memories of my husband with people who loved him just as much as I did. Their presence has meant the world to me, especially during those moments when I felt like I'm carrying everything on my own. They've also been really proactive about offering their help in case my in-laws try anything again, though I'm hopeful that won't happen. Their friendship has been a lifeline, reminding me that I'm not alone in this. From a legal standpoint, I've taken some extra steps to protect myself. My lawyer helped me update my own will and make sure all my important documents were in order. It's not something I ever expected to deal with at this point in my life, but it's given me peace of mind. I've also made sure to document everything that's happened just in case I ever need it in the future. For now, things have been quiet. My in-laws haven't tried to contact me again, and I'm hopeful that they finally realized they have no case. I wanted to take a moment to thank everyone who has supported me during this whole ordeal. Your encouragement, advice, and kindness have meant more to me than I can truly express. This journey has been incredibly difficult, and at times it has felt like an uphill battle. But knowing that there are people who genuinely care about me has given me strength when I need it the most. Sometimes family isn't just about blood, it's about the people who stand by you when everything falls apart. I'm so grateful for the people who've been there for me through all of this.